Welcome to MezFi Meets, a podcast where we bring you conversations from the cutting edge of blockchain, AI, financial services, and property, with interesting people doing amazing things. MezFi is an investment manager in Australia. To find out more about us and our products, go to www.mezfi.com. In today's episode, we speak to Angie from Brisbane Web3 Events, who has amassed an ex-following of over 17,000, having hosted regular spaces since 2020. She has a large music NFT collection, and over the last couple of years has become a pillar of the Brisbane Web3 event scene, having hosted a number of successful events. If you enjoy our content, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to our channel. Let's jump into today's episode. Hi everyone, it's Jerome here from MezFi with MezFi Meet. Today we're here with Angie from Brisbane Web3. How are you, Angie?
Great. How are you, Jerome?
Very well, thank you. So Angie and I met a couple of years ago at an event that she hosted for Brisbane Web3, which was the Brisbane River Cruise, which was a great event. I had a great time, met a lot of people in the Brisbane scene. Angie, why don't you just speak a bit, because obviously people probably won't know you very well. Why don't you just speak a bit about Brisbane Web3, about the events that you host, how you got into hosting, and maybe a bit about how you got into Web3 in general.
Yeah, sure. It's actually quite funny about that first, boat cruise. There were a couple of us sort of planning it, and then the other girl had to pull out. So I was, doing it by myself, and I thought, it'd be good to get a few people together. That first one that we had, it ended up the last week. People just started, even on the last day. People were contacting saying, can we get a ticket? Can we get a ticket? That event ended up being about 120 people.
Yeah, it felt really big. It was
Yeah,
like
it
heaving.
was.
It was great.
It was. And I was quite surprised. And it was an absolutely fantastic night. It's still, we all still talk about it, how wonderful that was. And it seemed like the who's who of Brisbane or even Australia, because people flew in from interstate, etc. So I think that was sort of, even though it was wonderful, it was my, cornerstone of, wow, this is what events are like.
Yeah.
This is what planning them is like. Some of it was quite stressful, and
Yeah,
I have a hard time saying no. So as I said, on the morning of the event, people were still asking if they could come along, and someone was telling me you have to say no, but I was going, yeah, okay, we can, get a few more people on, but. So that was sort of my cornerstone of, this is how events go. And then the next one we had, it wasn't as bad, but the next one we had, I think, may have even been with you.
Yeah, I think
that might have been the third or fourth one. And so I had this, thought in my head of you announce it, and people come and they get tickets, and then there's 120 people. So I did that, and probably about 2 or 3 weeks into it, only 11 tickets had sold. And so, yeah, I did. I started stressing, and I think that's when I called, the sponsors into a group chat and said, what am I supposed to do? Because, again, it's a hard one to juggle. You sort of pay for, I think that was a cruise as well, you sort of pay for the boat up front, and sometimes, depending on if it's an event or a cruise, but, it might be $3,000 and you pay that up front and book it. And then we had 11 people, and I was thinking, again, I'm a person who feels guilty about things, and I'm a bit crazy.
Yeah. That's all right. We all are.
I know. And I was thinking, we can't. We've got this whole boat and all these sponsors and 11 people, but, it ended up being about 60 or 80 on that night. So, as I said, people seem to sort of just jump on at the last minute. Which is good, but yeah, I think there had been a few events, around Brisbane. It's quite a long story, but there was someone involved who was running, Brisbane events.
Yep.
And he did an IRL rug pull before we kind of really knew how rug pulley things can get in the crypto space. But he did an IRL rug pull. Borrowed a lot of money off people.
Oh no! Is this during when he was organising an event? Is that what happened?
Yeah, pretty much events. I did go to, I think, one of his event, and he'd probably only did one, and he did one really massive one. But I think he didn't pay the venue, or he put it on someone else's credit card,
Oh,
didn't pay them back.
that's terrible for the industry too, because then we get a
Terrible.
bad
Yeah,
we get a bad rap and a bad
yeah.
reputation.
And this
Uh,
was years ago, This was years ago, and when, probably rug pull wasn't thrown around as much.
yeah,
Um, but, I'd helped him a little bit. A few of us did, we all helped him, and he was quite trusted in the area and stuff like that. But, people flew in from that. I remember the guys, Bread Brothers
yeah,
from Melbourne.
yeah.
They all flew up, and a limo dropped them out the front of the event. So yeah, and I think again, this guy. So after that, people started saying, well, someone needs to do events in Brisbane, and then everyone just said, you should do it. And I said, oh no, no, not me, not me. And
Why,
this sort of,
why would they say that you should
I
do
don't
it?
know, I
Had
don't
you
know.
showed like leadership qualities or
Um,
like
maybe I was a bit. Maybe I was a bit vocal about them and thought that they were really good and thought that they were good for, especially some people. I work in an area of IT, and I know, and I have for years. And I'm a little bit of a standout sometimes in the IT world because I
sure,
am an extrovert, whereas a lot of people in the IT world aren't.
that's true. Yep.
And sometimes even at work, I have this mission of I'll break that person out of their shell. Um, so yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe a lot of people were sort of just saying, "Hey, you could do it, you could do it." Um, and with that first one, it's funny that I thought, "Oh, I can't do that," and then it sort of became a bit of a mission that I think at that time I was feeling. I know that this isn't all about me. Well, it is, but
Yeah.
um, I was feeling a bit low. And then when I did this, and there was 120 people, and there was all these sponsors, and there was all this money and food and music and etc. And I thought, when it all worked out, and then afterwards, and the feedback, it made me feel really good about myself. So I thought everything sort of just fell into place. That I thought I didn't really realize I was capable of sort of doing that event by myself, and everything sort of working out how it did. So I think it kind of was a real confidence boost for me.
Yeah,
As I
great.
said, extrovert, but I do worry about things and stuff like that. So I did. I really thought after that event, I thought, hey, wow, I didn't know I was so capable, of something like
Yeah,
that. So it was really good for me, and to meet the
because
people that I'd been talking to for years was fantastic.
yeah, no, totally. I mean, because it was a great event. I will attest to that. I had a great time, and as you found out the other night on X, of which, by the way, I'll just say Angie has a really great following on X and a really great account. Speaks about some really interesting topics. So anyone should obviously follow Angie on X. And I'll put her at in the description underneath the video. But yeah, so you found out that the Hashlock guys and I met that
Yeah,
evening at the Brisbane cruise, and it was such a like for those who weren't there, it was just this real moment in time. I think it was just out the back of COVID, so everyone was very excited to be getting out there
mm,
and mingling. And I remember, talking to you on the night, and before that event, you'd sort of not really, you're sort of trying to bring everything together yourself. And then someone had mentioned to you about getting sponsors together, and you ended up having like SwiftX sponsoring
it's
and,
crazy.
a number of other companies. So the whole
The
thing was
Australian
just,
Crypto Convention,
yeah,
yeah, Jacob Lee. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even name them all. I know that there's posters somewhere, and that poster went somewhere at the end of the night. We sort of had to take it off. I said, "What am I supposed to do with this?" And someone said, "Oh, yeah, I'll take that for sure." And yeah, they kept it, but I still see the poster. But yeah, it was a who's who of Web3, and as I said, it was so fantastic, and that's probably but what was in my head of this is how events are. But yeah, I said I don't know what it was with that one. If there hadn't been something sort of maybe so big, and as you said, people coming out of COVID, just everyone just came together, and just, yeah, that it was an amazing night that I'm not even sure can be replicated.
Yeah, look, potentially not, but I think, if you keep plugging away,
Yeah.
you've obviously, done it, so you've seen that success, and so you
Mm.
keep plugging away, you'll get there for sure. One thing that I'm super interested in, though, because I know you've, I remember, you talking about, years of spaces that you've been in and hosted. I remember quite vividly you talking about, a few like Web3 musicians, an NFT collection that you have, a music NFT collection that you have.
Hmm.
So, you've got, a real history in the space. What was it that captured your imagination or your attention about the Web3 space in the beginning?
I think at work, a few of us were sort of just learning about, crypto and blockchain, etc. And we'd sort of got into a couple of coins, and there was, a few of us at work had this little. We put up a little sign that said the crypto corner, and people would come over to us and say, "Oh, what's this? What's this all about?" And we would tell them. That was probably about 2015, 16.
Okay.
And we made a few errors and, bought those bags of things that maybe no longer exist, or some of them do, but um, yeah, sort of got into that. And I was already on Twitter, but my Twitter account was me talking about rugby league, because that is my life.
Okay.
So me, and yes, Queensland won the Origin last night, so that's wonderful.
Well, I'm from
Um,
Melbourne, so we don't care. But
yes, yes, I
I'm sure
know.
all the
Yep.
all the Sydney people that are listening will be
Mm,
suffering in their jocks for sure.
absolutely. But yeah, I think that's all my account was, and it was really I sort of had started, met some people on there, or people had contacted me on there. Not like it is today that every single DM you get pretty much is a hey, we'd like you to test out our game. Click on this link, and then attach your
and get
wallet.
yeah,
You know,
exactly, and then get done.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Back when it was, yeah, as I said, 2000 and probably 17. Um, and there was a game that I think, they're still going. But they said, would you like to do some, moderating and stuff with us on Telegram? So it was very Telegram based, back in the day.
Mm.
But they were really big, and I look at them now and I think they were way before their time, because you bought this NFT, and NFTs were very, very new.
Yeah.
And you bought it as part of a game, and it was an egg, and you did this, and you looked after it, and it cracked, and then it hatched something. And I just saw someone, doing that not long ago, and I thought, wow, those guys were doing it in 2017.
It's
They were
crazy.
way. So that was sort of my introduction into, um, Web3, I guess, projects. Whereas I just sort of dabbled in, crypto and stuff like that, just sort of for
Just coins.
myself,
Yeah.
yeah, in coins. And then there was that, and then I guess I sort of started, doing Twitter Spaces when they first came out. I think it was the first week, and I think it was like late. I couldn't even tell you the year, but maybe late, um, 2018 or 19,
Mhm.
and didn't really know what we were doing. We used to do sort of, I guess, spaces on Telegram, just audio. And then
Yeah.
these Twitter spaces started, and so we sort of started doing those. Then I just came to a point where I just thought, you know what, I really want to concentrate on the Aussies. I was in so many spaces, I was co hosting spaces, and they were all very much overseas. Yeah, a lot of American spaces, and I just wanted to concentrate on the Aussies because, a couple of things had come out and say, hey, who's an Aussie? And, you'd find all these people that we didn't even know existed. And just when I thought I'd found all the Aussies, I'd find another whole, group of Aussies.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, then we started. A few of us started running, weekly Aussie spaces, and at night time, and it's hard. It's hard when you're juggling, work and family and trying to get
Totally.
everyone together and stuff like that. But yeah, they sort of fizzled out a little bit. But yeah, the as you said, the music NFTs. I've always loved music. Music is my life. Um, and and then I stumbled on, artists, again, mostly overseas, and became very, very close to those people. Probably spent nearly every day in spaces with them. Um, Violetta Zeroni, Josh Savage
That's. I think Violetta is the one that I remember. I
is
think she
leading.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, she ended up being in a space that I think I listened to, and this was not part of when you used to be in spaces with her, but she was just in a space that you'd
Yeah,
done maybe a few months ago, and then she was singing,
yeah.
and you're like, this used to happen all the time, and I really felt like I'd missed out on a moment or
It
something,
was, and I kind of think, will it go back to that? Like, yeah, Josh Savage, Sammy Arriaga, they're all doing amazing things. They were probably the three people that I'd sort of met, connected with, and formed relationships with, and then, yeah, it was spaces daily. Bought a lot of their NFTs, sold a lot of their NFTs. We still talk about one of Josh's that I'd minted this, and because of the time zone, etc. And it was unveiling, and I woke up and they said, "Oh my God, you've got a one of one." Things. It was just so big back then. Someone ended up buying it
yeah.
off me for 4 ETH.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, back then, 4 ETH wasn't worth what 4 ETH is
No,
today, but
no, but it was still pretty impressive. It was still pretty
yeah,
impressive, but yeah, it was just
yeah,
such a, this massive big family. And I've seen that change so
yeah,
much over the years.
yeah, totally.
Now it seems like,
Yeah,
we're
it's
going
it's.
through
I
the,
mean,
the shit coin or the meme coin. Some of them might be good and stuff, but a lot of spaces are, you know, influencers, um, just sort of, yeah, shilling bags. I'm not sure we'll get back to that big community feel that was there, but I do know that people still have a lot of spaces. I don't join them as much as I used to. So maybe I'm removed a little bit from it.
do you think? I mean, you've been around Twitter for a long time, obviously, and now it's called X.
Yeah.
Do you think any of that, or do you subscribe any of that to Elon coming on and the shift in the sentiment around the platform? Like, do spaces feel different than they used to? Maybe because of the change in ownership, or do you think that doesn't have anything to do
No,
with
I
it?
don't think that has anything to do with it. Um, yeah, no, definitely not. I think it was a shift in the, I guess it's sort of, I don't know when it even happened. And again, people got busier. Maybe it was through COVID and people went back to work and they weren't as available, as they were for as many spaces.
Yeah,
The space also got bigger. Maybe then, and definitely there wasn't only 10, but if there was 100 projects, you could jump into spaces of 20 different projects. Now I couldn't even tell you how many there are. If there's 10,000, how can you possibly, join not only the ones you like, but yeah, there's just not enough hours in the day to join spaces, and someone's off doing this and
totally
doing
agree.
this. So yeah, I don't think it was so much the change in X as much as the change in the markets and the change in bringing different people in as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess, yeah, well, crypto, I mean, what is it, 15 years or so since Bitcoin was first launched. Obviously now, I mean, the market cap is of Bitcoin, or the entire crypto market cap is, in the vicinity of $1.5 trillion, which is just
I know.
mind-boggling to think about from 15 years ago. And the number of people that are in the space now is just mind-boggling as well. Obviously, we've got a lot of wholesale adoption now with the ETFs.
Mm,
Um, and I think, obviously with the global economy the way that it is and inflation, you can tell that, everyday people, yeah, they're doing it tougher than they were a couple of years ago, even with COVID, because, in COVID times there were, money was cheaper. People were getting incentives
yeah,
from
yeah.
government. These days, things are, yeah, it's definitely I know exactly what you mean. There's the general sentiment is definitely people are doing it tougher than they were a few years ago for
And
sure.
they are, but in saying that, I just posted something the other day and I said, I didn't say I thought people were broke. I think I second guess everything that I say and look at things that I say. But my sentiment was, hey, I thought people were broke. But in the last, say, month, the money that had gone into some meme coins and some NFT projects, I think it was meme coins actually. And I just thought, hey, I thought the
Yeah,
world, and everyone was doing it tough, and everyone
yeah,
was broke. But look at this money coming into these, meme coins. It's not as if, if people say this is going into Bitcoin, I think, oh, fair enough, they're doing that as a stable investment, in my opinion. But the meme coins, it's just, it's baffling. I don't know what this is that's happened over the last, say, I don't know, month or two. But it's fascinating. Even the psychology of it is fascinating.
It is fascinating. Oh, totally. I mean, the meme coin cycle always happens, following the Bitcoin pump. I mean, usually, if I remember, there's a meme on X that goes around, of the cycle of the parts of the bull run.
And disbelief.
It starts with Bitcoin, then it goes, and then it goes to the flip thing where ETH is going to overtake. And then it goes to the meme coins, and then alts, and then it goes to the memes, and but the funny thing about this cycle, which has been a bit different, is that it started with Bitcoin, as it always does, but it kind of skipped ETH and then went straight to the meme coins and the alts, to be honest. And I think a lot of that's to do with the fact that the ETH ETF wasn't approved at the same time as the Bitcoin, so the Bitcoin pump sort of happened, but there wasn't the same inflow to Ethereum as there was to Bitcoin. I mean, this is not financial advice in any way, but now that the ETH ETF has been approved, I mean, I'm keeping my eyes on Ethereum and Ethereum related projects.
Yeah, definitely.
Because that those inflows that are going to happen are going to be very exciting.
Yeah, and I think something else that's happened too is, some of the alts have come up a bit, but also these meme coins. I think that whole NFT craze, everything was just pretty much on ETH. There were runner-ups, seconds and third, but if you were buying NFTs, you were buying them on ETH pretty much. But now,
fully, except for DGods, except for DGods,
yes, then to ETH, then back to Solana, but.
All that,
but I kind of think now they've got this meme coin. What is on? This one's on Base, and this one's on Sol, and this one's on Polygon, and this one's on these ones are on Bitcoin. So I think there's just so many different options out there now that But I feel good. I feel like the sentiment on crypto Twitter is really good. Everyone seems sort of happy, I guess, when prices are up, people are happy.
Well, I had that discussion with Lee Eaton from Independent Reserve on Monday. Actually, that episode is going out, or actually, when our episode now goes out, it would have been released a few weeks ago. But in terms of right now, we had this conversation a couple of days ago, and he was saying, like exactly when prices are high, the sentiment just goes up and everyone's happy, and it's so true. I mean, like it's just how
of course.
it is. You can't change it. And so you got to take full advantage. Well, not take full advantage. That sounds bad, but you got to make hay while the sun shines.
Absolutely.
And get in there and.
I think so, because I mean, if you go back 6 months or so ago, there was a lot of, it looked like infighting, and this project was fighting with this project, and this project didn't like this people, and these people didn't like this people, and I would get on there and I'd scroll through X and just go, oh, too much, like it was very confusing for my brain, and I'd just go, ugh. Whereas now, people seem happy, people seem to be sort of planning, and as I said, I'm still sort of following a lot of musicians, so they're all organising tours and performances and stuff like that. And, the builders are building, or they have built through the bear. Now they're all emerging, like the beautiful sunflowers that they are.
That's it. About the musicians, I know, like you said, you had a big NFT collection, or still do have. Is NFT music still a thing, or has it sort of died off? And are those NFT musicians that you talked about, are they still minting new NFTs and still doing that, or
they definitely are. I'm not sure. And as I said, I always talk about this. I can hear Violetta, if she was here right now with me, saying, bro. she is so passionate about it, and I think she is going to be one of the ones that leads this, revolution forward. And I think she'd put up a post the other day of the guy that owns Spotify and how much he earns each year. And she said he didn't write the music, you know.
Oh, I wouldn't even want to
No,
know.
I know. And it mightn't have been her. She had commented on it, but it might have been another post that she'd shared as well. But Violetta said, this guy, and he earns this much. He doesn't write the music. He doesn't play the music. He doesn't store the music. He gets $9 a month off this many people and earns this much money. And it's been a conversation that I've had for years as well. And it's just, I know that it's technology and stuff as well. But we used to go into the city and you'd look through records, LPs, vinyls. Then it changed, and you'd go and you'd look through the CDs. But you had all those stores, like, I know JB Hi-Fi's got them, but there were distinct music stores that you would go into and get your favorite one when it was out, your favorite CD. And I'm thinking a while back, but all the Pearl Jam ones, and then you'd get the little thing out of the cover, and it'd have a little booklet and everything. All the streaming platforms, have all disappeared. So branching off a little bit there, but they are definitely still putting out music NFTs. I just saw Josh put one out the other day, and they collaborate together. That's something wonderful that's happened. Josh is from the UK, but he's overseas now. And then Emma is in Scotland, and they do a song together. And then these two do a song together, and I saw Nessie and Louie, they do rap, so they might hook up with someone who's not doing rap, and they do a collaboration together. But I just saw Ray Isla and also Violetta are about to do tours. Oh, and Sammy Arriaga, he had a poster up as well. So they're all doing IRL tours. And some of that, which I just saw today as well, is part of the utility of owning their NFTs. So, I always thought music NFTs do come with a utility, and some of them is lifetime entry into concerts and vinyls. And I thought, how did we come full circle here, that vinyls had sort of disappeared? Now we're buying digital, songs on the blockchain. But as one of the utilities is that you get a real life vinyl with it, So we've sort of gone. It is fantastic.
I mean, I'm a big fan.
Yeah, it is fantastic. But I thought, how funny that technology has come around, and we're purchasing these digital things, that we can own on the blockchain, but we still want that physical item, whether that be a vinyl or a plushie or a concert. We still do want that physical connection. And I think, bringing it back to events, you do get that. Spaces are wonderful, phone calls, meetings are wonderful, but in real life events do bring something different, I think. And a lot of people, I think, I know, share that, but they do bring something different. It's a different connection that you have. And I guess you're talking a little bit more than just outside of space. So you might learn about someone. As you said, that conversation that you had with Hashlock and meeting them on the boat cruise, that mightn't have happened in a Twitter space, but IRL, when
no, definitely not.
When you're sort of sitting back and I've learned a lot of, personal things about people, not deeply personal, but, this person having a baby, well, they wouldn't have said that probably on a Twitter space, or this person doing this, or this person running a marathon. No. Yeah, so it does bring a different kind of connection, and yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. A couple of things come to mind about what you were saying. Firstly, about records. I remember. I mean, I used to DJ a bit, so I have a reasonably extensive record collection, both in like house music and techno, which is what I used to DJ, but also soul and R&B and a bit of disco and stuff. And so I know very well about, the music stores that you're talking about. And I used to really love going and digging through record crates. And, even last year when I
Yeah.
was in Sydney, I went to the Mossman Market, and there was a guy sitting there selling records, secondhand records. And, I bought, I think it was, I bought an old Michael Jackson record, and I bought, what's his name? I've seen Fire and I've seen Rain. James, can't remember his name.
James. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just said this in the car.
Did you?
That's really crazy.
Yeah. But
Just when we were in the car, some AM radio came on and it said, "Ring now if you know this singer." And I said, "Of course I do.
Yeah.
That's James." And I went, "Oh my God."
Yeah, no, I know who.
Yeah, I've seen Fire and I've seen Rain.
Yeah. Exactly.
In my mind, I'm going to Carolina.
Carolina in my mind. Exactly.
And I couldn't think of his last name.
It's in my Spotify. I'm also a member of that accursed platform. But yeah, so records, amazing. Yes, records have made a resurgence, because I believe, and I completely agree with you about IRL events. We are physical beings at the end of the day, and we can exist in this, digital world so much like we do, but I think we all at our heart, at our core, crave physical interaction. That's it. That's where we are, physical beings, and you can't get away from that.
Yeah, and I would totally agree. James Taylor.
Yes. Well done.
It was going to drive me crazy. Yeah, I love that. In my mind, I'm going to Carolina.
Oh, it's great.
Love those two. Love those songs. Yeah, but I do agree. And even people who are introverts, have come along to the events and said how wonderful it was, because people do crave, I'm a very, well, it's funny. I'm a very, very people person. I always have been. But COVID saw me working at home, and then working at home more and more and more.
Yep.
To the point of just not going into the office, to the point of, do I have to go to this thing or that thing or this? It obviously it didn't change my fundamental personality, but I did become quite withdrawn.
Yep.
And I'm probably still a little bit awkward with, an introvert said to me, my husband, an introvert said to me, about going back into the office and doing this and going out, your personality's changed. And I was thinking, hey, that's rich coming from you. But I did notice that it did. As I said, not the fundamental personality, but yeah, withdrawn. And I really don't think it was good for people to stay at home that much. But yeah, I have noticed. So maybe I was forcing myself out as well with the events. But yeah, as I said, there's just also there's people from so many different walks of life and ages. There were 18-year-olds at the events. There were 65-year-olds at the event, of all different backgrounds, of all different, I guess we were all there for crypto, NFTs, blockchain, but nothing specific and no specific project. So yeah, it was really fascinating, and everyone's just so welcoming of each other. It's really, really good to see.
Yeah, it is. It is great to see, and one of the reasons that I, love being in the Web3 space is exactly that. What you're talking about. It's that, come one, come all kind of mentality that we have, and there's just such a supportive, feeling around the community in general. And I think I was at an event, and I think an ex-banker who had gotten into crypto said this, where they said, I'd never experienced in my life in banking where, different people were actually coming together and actually wanting each other to succeed. It's always, everybody's competing, and it's very competitive. And even though it is competitive, because we all want to succeed, but there's a real sense of community and lifting each other up that happens, except for the scammers. Screw them. But Everybody
Yeah.
else is,
Use, yeah.
yeah.
And again, over the years, I've seen so many different things, and I've seen projects that, won't share other things because, they don't want to take the spotlight off themselves, etc. But I guess the people and the projects and the founders that I am drawn to are people that do shine a light on other people. Um, you know, they're all cliche things, but when people say there's room for all of us, there really is.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned before SwiftX.
Yes.
I love them. I love the team. There are other, exchanges around as well. And people can, well, I know that I'm on more than one, but people can use 3 different ones.
Yeah.
And they can all go to the same event and talk to each other. And, SwiftX and Binance, I think they were both sponsors of the Bitcoin halving.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be this big competition. And I don't see that a lot in Australia. I do see everyone wanting to lift each other up.
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely my experience as well. 100%. One thing that I want to mention that I don't think I've talked to anyone so far about is because obviously you're someone who appreciates music and art and everything. So MezFi, as part of our, launch and everything, we've got our NFT collection that's going to be launched, and there's this sort of meshing of finance and art together. Um, you know, how
Mm.
does that sort of hit you as a person who, is in NFTs and, crypto and all this sort of stuff? Do you think there's a kind of, a vibe for that? Because, it is this kind of, meshing of two worlds, and, some people haven't gotten it, but I think there's definitely room for it.
Yeah, I think there is too. And again, you're getting something else. The financial people are getting something else as well because they're getting art. The art people are getting something else because they're getting their finances, I guess, with it as well. And I see that in other areas, that you might get, a cross platform, not cross platform, but yeah, a cross experience of, art with, added value that is the finance, etc. Um, I'm spending a lot of time with my OG Twitter Space family at Quantum Expeditions. Now they do Bitcoin mining,
Okay.
they're doing a WeFunder, etc. But they've got this huge thing in Texas, and one of the guys has put videos up last week. The founders are unbelievable people who I think I met years ago in Twitter Spaces, but also in you go, oh yes, I used to talk to you in these spaces, but also music NFT spaces. Then I met you over in these different spaces as well.
Yeah.
But they're doing a WeFunder, and you can get in as little as $100. But if you put in this much, you get an NFT with it. If you put in this much, you get this briefcase, etc. So I think here's Bitcoin mining, but you're also getting an NFT, an ordinal. Sorry, not just an NFT, an ordinal. So here's a Bitcoin mining company, and
Yeah.
they're dealing outside with with all gas and nuclear and all of that sort of stuff, but combining it with, as you said, like art and ordinals, and then the real life things like board games, etc. So, I think you guys, as you said, uh, we've met in real life. You guys have sponsored Brisbane Web3 events, Brisbane Bitcoin events, and what you guys are doing is offering something unique and fantastic as well. And I think blending that in, with the art and the NFTs, you're probably bringing in more of, a crowd that maybe may not have looked at just the finance, but maybe they might look at that and then become interested in the finance. So I
Yeah.
think,
Well,
I think there's a lot of room for people to combine.
yeah, well, I think, one thing where my mission is, a bit of it's financial literacy. I think, we're aiming to democratize particular, investment products which haven't been done before when we launch. And, so being able to, get people interested in things that they would otherwise not have been interested in before is part of that mission. So, I guess it's just a matter of finding that thing where we can get it, the really good sort of meeting in the middle of the two. But yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, and I think that's something that a lot of people are still figuring out, but that you're you're addressing different people and different kinds of areas. As I said, that people are there for the finance, or people come to mezzanine finance, for the financial aspect. But then, hey, look, you could also get this art, and that might make them go, oh, art on the blockchain, etc., and look into that. Whereas people who may not be, most people are interested in finance that are in the space, but not all. Some people are just there for the JPEGs.
Yeah,
some people are just there for, and then people who are there for the JPEGs might look at this art and go, wow, I love that. And they go, what do they do? Mezzanine finance, and then look into that. I think that there's an opportunity there, for so many sort of cross genres, if that's the correct word to use.
I think cross genres is a perfect thing to use. I might even use it myself, as long as you don't mind.
Do it. Nice. I won't copyright it. Cross genre.
Yeah, no, cross genre. That's awesome. Look, Angie, look, we could keep going forever, I think. I've really enjoyed just meandering through all of our shared interest today. Why don't we finish up with what I mentioned at the beginning, because the reason that we met was Web3 events, and I think there's a lot of people out there, whether they're in companies that are in Web3, or whether they want to get into, say, events or something, who would benefit from your experience. And so I wonder if you could give the listeners today, Angie's 3 tips for anyone wanting to get into Web3 events, and we can finish it up with that, if that's okay.
Yeah, definitely. I would probably say, to definitely, I was thinking ask for help, but you can do it by yourself. And I have done several of these by myself, but reach out to those in the know. As I said, yourself, have your contacts, or build a base of contacts of people that you can turn to that may be able to help with, either venues, crowd, sponsors, food, anything like that. But if you build sort of a base of people that you can turn to for advice, etc., I think that that's really important. I would also probably say, things that I've learned over the time. It's a hard act to balance, because a lot of times you have to book somewhere first with a date, because if you're going to say to people, hey, come to this event, and they say, when is it? And you say, well, not 100% sure. So you need to go out to the crowd and to the audience with we're having something on the 29th of June, which we are in Brisbane.
Oh, you are? Okay.
But to have that, yeah, good plug. To have that, you have to sort of book it first. So I guess it's a balancing act too of, finances. A lot of the events are free. So then that's not a problem. But you still need it for, for catering, for sizes, etc. So, I think it's important to, find that balance between, there's probably things each event that I do, I think, okay, next time I'll do this better, or next time I'll put out a Google Doc first to say, are you going to come and are you interested? Then do the invites. I think the planning of it and making sure, you've got the right sort of, numbers and stuff for the event, because the finance of it, the balancing of the finance will be, tricky if you book something for $5,000. If you book something for $5,000 and then you get two people come along, you've left yourself in a little bit of a hole there.
Yeah, for sure.
And the third one is probably just have fun. Those first couple, I stressed so much about it, and everyone said, yeah, but by the time you get there, depending on the type of person you are too, I'm a bit of a worrier. Not that everything has to be perfect. I don't even care if it's not perfect. I want people to be happy. I want people to be, engaged with each other, for drinks or food or venue, that sort of thing to all go well. I don't have to have, Ritz and, flashing lights and disco balls, but, I think the person themselves, just to sort of, just to relax and enjoy it as much as you can. But they were sort of three long versions, but probably the biggest thing I would say is, yes, stay connected. Stay connected in your community and with people that you can reach out to.
Nice one. Nice one. Yeah, no,
And go to an
that's three
event.
great tips. Yeah, yes, absolutely, absolutely. So tell us about, because I would normally wrap up here, but I'm intrigued about the twenty
Mhm.
ninth of June. Why don't you tell us about the event on the 29th of June? Give us a plug.
Yeah, definitely. So 29th of June at South Bank in Brisbane. I had been chatting a lot in a few different communities with Block Chat, a team called Block Chat, and the team from there. So we sort of started talking, and they have got this wonderful, application, and I guess it's a bit of a cross between Twitter and Meetup and Reddit and Discord, sort of all rolled into one. Um,
Okay.
so we were sort of saying, talking about doing an event. So they're actually
Yep.
they are the major sponsor of the event. And we said, let's
Okay.
do an end of financial year. End of financial year, 29th of June. Perfect. Lands on a Saturday night. I think
Perfect.
we're going to get, you've met Maddie
Yep.
from Crypto Tax Made Easy.
Yes, I have. Yes.
So yep. And so 29th of June would be perfect for him as well. So I think he's going to come down. So we're going to have this event, and it's at South Bank at the Ship-In. I put up a little bit of information about the history of the Ship-In. That it's been there since it moved, but it's been there since the 1800s. So we're going to have this event, and,
Wow.
and Blockchat are going to introduce, Blockchat are going to introduce their product. And then we sort of just started, like, things started moving, and I started talking to another guy who's in the Queensland slash Brisbane, community, and he said he sells coffee, beans, etc. And I said, oh, you could bring some along and you could sell them there. And then I said, hey, you could do
Okay.
samples. And he said, well, would there be something I could plug into? And I said, let's do it. So we're going to have a little sample table. So, and I said, kind of like a little mini expo. So he's going to have like samples of his coffee and sell them there. It's too late now because it's only like 3 weeks away. But it made me start thinking about some kind of expo that we could do that everyone brings along. MezFi comes along and they have their own table. I guess that's on a bigger scale, like the crypto convention, but like
Yeah,
crypto conventions
not
around
really.
the
I mean,
world,
well, you could
but just
do like
smaller.
a mini, yeah, you could do a mini version of a convention, which is just
Yes,
like a Brisbane Web3, you could call it a mini
yes.
convention. I don't mind if you borrow that. That's
Mm-hmm.
fine.
And I will.
Yeah,
Mini
yeah, there you
convention,
go.
yeah, and that's so they're going to introduce, you know, that SwiftX are on board. We're going to do a Bitcoin, giveaway on the night. I think we're going to have some
Oh,
merch to give away as well.
I actually
So yeah, we'll be
remembered.
giving away
I
Bitcoin.
actually I was actually the winner
Yes,
of yes, I was the winner of $100 worth of Bitcoin at an
exactly.
event, and I have not claimed it, so I still need to do that with SwiftX. So I will contact
Yes,
you
you do.
separately
I
to
was just
discuss
emailing
that.
them the other day. I was emailing them the other day and I said to them, do you know, I knew that the first winner did. And I was thinking, who was the second winner? And I thought, I know who it was. It was Jerome. And I was going to chase
Yeah,
you
there
up
you go.
about it as well. So, yes, they're waiting for you. Create your account. Can't believe you don't have one. Amar. I'm not going to tell Tommy, but
I do have. I do have a SwiftX account. I just need to verify it and get
KYC,
it all
yeah.
done. Exactly.
Perfect. Yeah, I saw them. I saw them last night on the Origin. That's right. You're from Melbourne, so you don't really care. But yeah, they are doing fantastically. They're up on the big lights of the state of origin of, they've had a rebrand. Um, so it's less cryptic, more crypto is their catchphrase.
Less cryptic, less cryptic, more crypto. I like
Yep.
it. That's cool.
Yeah, me too. So yeah. 29th of June. It's on my X account, and the tickets are only $30, and that's food giveaways. There's going to be, yeah, as I said, Queensland uh, team members, etc. Brewing up some samples of their coffee and selling that there, and yeah, shout out to Block Chat, great team from Queensland, Brisbane as well that I've recently met.
Too easy, amazing. All right, well, we'll put the links to that event as well as Brisbane Web3 in the description of the video as well. So that's great. So Angie, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a great chat. I really appreciate it. We've gone through music NFTs, events, a bit of MezFi thrown in for good measure, spaces. I've really enjoyed it. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, me too.
And
Absolutely.
wonderful, wonderful. All right. Well, have a great day, and thank you so much again. And I look forward to chatting soon. Thanks for watching. If you want to find out more about MezFi, go to www.mezfi.com. Follow us on X, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. You can see our shorts there, and look forward to the next conversation, and see you then.